Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
Everyone has regrets about money, but men and women have different ones. Men are more likely to say they regret not investing enough. Nearly 15% wish they put more money into the stock market versus 9% of women. At 41%, the biggest regret for women is not saving more. 36% of men had the same answer. That's according to a survey by the financial site Go Banking Rates. Men and women also have different fears about money. Men's biggest fear is losing money in the stock market. Women are most afraid of living paycheck to paycheck. There are steps both men and women can take to ease their money worries. Many people don't invest because they're afraid they don't know how, but there are a growing number of apps geared toward first-time investors. Financial experts say the best way to save is to make it automatic. There are also apps for that, or regular savings accounts can be set up to make automatic withdrawals. There's at least one money problem men and women have in common. About a third of each have nothing saved for retirement. It's often said your pet always gets the best seat in the house, but in the car, you might need to move them to the back. A state senator in Arizona is sponsoring a bill that would make it illegal to carry a pet in your lap while driving. John Kavanaugh, the state senator behind the bill, argues that operating a vehicle with an animal in your lap is dangerous and leads to distracted driving. If the bill passes, law enforcement officials would give violators a traffic ticket as well as a $100 fine. While driving with your pet on your lap is often frowned upon, only Hawaii has a law on the books specifically barring the practice. 3 other states, Nevada, New Jersey, and Washington, have enacted animal cruelty statutes that make it illegal to improperly transport an animal. So on your next road trip, make sure your furry friend takes a back seat.
An Eagles player was brought to tears after Philadelphia won the NFC Championship game, but not because the team was going to the Super Bowl. Zach Ertz had a huge day, catching 8 passes for 93 yards, helping the Eagles rout the Minnesota Vikings 38-7. His wife, Julie, plays for the U.S. women's soccer team. She had a game at the same time as her husband. She didn't want to be distracted during the game with updates on the Eagles score, so she only found out her husband was going to the Super Bowl after her game. A reporter showed that video to Zach in the locker room, and he got teary-eyed.
Oh, man. It's emotional for me. I wish she was here, obviously. Tough not having her here, but I can't wait for her to get home and celebrate with her.
The good news is Julie should be able to be in Minnesota to cheer on her husband in person when the Eagles face the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52.
A new study reveals the flu is spread much easier than we previously thought. A team at the University of Maryland found the flu can actually be transmitted to others just by breathing without even sneezing or coughing. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus's 2 wins at the SAG Awards on Sunday night made her the most decorated SAG performer with 9 trophies.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus couldn't be here this evening. Julia, we're thinking of you, and we love you.
The Veep star recently finished her last chemo treatment and tweeted she had fun watching the awards from home in her pajamas. And the medical examiner has revealed Tom Petty died of an accidental drug overdose due to pain medications he was taking. These included fentanyl, oxycodone, and generic Xanax. The singer was also taking the sleep aid Restoril and Celexa to treat depression. And the royal family is looking to hire an exceptional communications expert to work at Buckingham Palace, and they've even placed an ad on LinkedIn. It's a 12-month contract that includes 33 days holiday. It doesn't list the salary, but who cares when you get to travel the world with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, right?
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pie. Nicole, I am hearing big things about Facebook and the way you get your news.
That's right, Richard. Facebook is making some major changes to how news appears on your feed. Among them is prioritizing news the Facebook community deems trustworthy by letting users rank outlooks. The company also plans to focus on the news that is informative and relevant to people's local community. Are you financially cheating on your significant other? You are not alone. An estimated 15 million adults in live-in relationships have secret bank accounts or credit cards that their partners do not know about. Get this, 31% of people think hiding accounts is worse than physically cheating. Amazon is going cashierless in Seattle. The company is opening a grocery store called Go with no cashiers or checkout lines.
Nicole, is this kind of automation, shops without humans, the future of retail?
Not quite. There will still be employees in case customers need assistance. And while it could be a game changer for the grocery and retail industries, the company has not said whether it'll expand the concept to other locations.
Good news for humans. Nicole, thank you.
A new report published by the CDC found shocking data about the rates at which ADHD medication is being prescribed to women. The study tracked prescription drug claims for ADHD medications like Adderall, Ritalin, and Vyvanse for women between the ages of 15 and 44 over the course of 12 years. From 2003 to 2015, the number of prescriptions skyrocketed 700% for women between the ages of 25 and 29. There was also a 560% increase in prescriptions for women between 30 and 34. Overall, ADHD prescriptions were up 344% over the entire age span over that 12-year period. Experts say the data points to a need to further examine the effect of ADHD medication on pregnancy, since women could be taking the meds before they realize they're pregnant. And the need for more research couldn't be clearer. There's only been one major study looking at the effect of ADHD medications on birth defects. Don't ever underestimate those who are different. 21-year-old John was born with Down syndrome. But just like every other 21-year-old, John was thinking about his future. What did he want to do with his life? Well, the answer came quickly. In 2016, after brainstorming with his dad, he had the idea to sell socks. He had always loved wearing crazy socks, and it seemed only right to share that joy with the rest of the world. Socks are fun and creative and colorful, and they let me be me, John says. And just like that, John's Crazy Socks was born. It's simple. They sell crazy socks. And with each order, John includes candy and a personal note. Putting in hard work and heart, in about a year's time, John's business raked in $1.4 million. He's raised thousands for charity and donated a good percentage to the Special Olympics. This entrepreneur has made it big. John's business partner, his dad, admits it's been a learning curve. He's a Harvard grad who went into the law business. Selling socks is a little different. But he says he has the perfect partner in John. And if you want to check out John's Crazy Socks, check out our Top 30 Facebook page. When you hear the term voice assistant, you think of Amazon's Alexa, iPhone Siri, or Google Home. But some companies debuted devices at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas that proved voice assistants will soon be used in some very unexpected places, like the bathroom. Tired of having to flush the toilet? You can tell Kohler's high-tech toilet Numi to flush, and it'll flush. Or how about using voice commands to tell your oven to preheat or change temperatures? Or a large umbrella for your backyard that opens and closes on demand and plays music through its built-in speakers. There's even a pet food dispenser for your favorite furry loved one, so you can just verbally tell it to release food to your pet when they need it. What will they think of next? Okay, Richard, I understand you have news about a controversial arrest?
Yeah, that's right. A Michigan man could be deported to a country where he doesn't even speak the language. Lucas Neese has been in the US for nearly 40 years. He came with his parents from Poland when he was just 5 years old. According to the Washington Post, last week he was taken from his home in handcuffs by immigration and customs enforcement officers. A Department of Homeland Security notice cited 2 misdemeanor offenses from 26 years ago. Neese pleaded guilty and the crimes were later expunged, but the Trump administration has expanded rules for immigrants being considered for deportation, including low-level offenders and people with no criminal record. Since his crimes were thrown out, Neese has become a doctor working at Bronson Methodist Hospital in Kalamazoo. Neese's sister called the case shocking, saying her brother has no relationships in Poland and doesn't speak the language. Immigration experts say the case may not be heard for months. The next casualty of the retail apocalypse could be the convenience store. There are more than 154,000 convenience stores in America. It is a $550 billion industry. Bloomberg reports that in 2017, the business saw its weakest sales growth in 4 years. Like all retailers, they face competition from Amazon. Basic items can be ordered online, and the company is testing checkout-free shopping locations with Amazon Go. Pressure also comes from fast food restaurants and supermarkets that are cutting prices. Not only are Americans changing the way they shop for snacks and beverages, they're also buying less of the other items traditionally found at gas stations like cigarettes. To stay alive, convenience stores are changing what they offer. It's the reason 7-Eleven has begun selling cold-pressed organic juice. The Midwest chain, Quick Trip, hired an in-house dietitian and now sells fresh produce. Stores are also changing the way they sell. Casey's General Stores in Iowa and Wawa in Pennsylvania will test online ordering and delivery. Industry experts say convenience stores have a choice: evolve or die.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 2 Detroit, the girls at figure skating in Detroit have a lot of fun, but they're also learning life lessons. The after-school program ICE, I Can Excel, is where 50 girls ages 6 to 15 meet 4 days a week, spending 2 days on the ice and the other 2 days with tutors working on homework. Inspired by the Figure Skating in Harlem Youth Development Program, Detroit is now seeing its benefits.
Our goal is to have our girls grow.
Our next story from Fox 26 Houston. In the devastation of Hurricane Harvey, many lost their homes and some lost their jobs. Because of this, Lone Star College noticed an increase in applicants looking to learn a new trade. So Lone Star College, with the help from the state of Texas and other partners, raised $1 million in tuition for students like these. Now they can learn heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, known commonly as HVAC, skills that are in demand in a city looking to rebuild. Our final story from Fox 10 Phoenix. While all 37 playgrounds in Scottsdale meet accessibility guidelines set by the Americans with Disabilities Act, the newest edition goes above and beyond. From equipment for those with cognitive disabilities to wider ramps for wheelchairs, Chaparral Park is now a national demonstration site for inclusive playgrounds.
Designing a playground that is accessible and workable for everybody was the ultimate goal.
Because every child should be included when it comes to having fun.
Archaeologists in Mexico discovered the world's largest underwater cave, and the video from inside is remarkable. The cave spans 260 miles and is so big, researchers thought it was 2 different caves until now. But it's not just the size that has researchers amazed. It could also hold lost secrets of the ancient Mayan civilization. The first Mayan cities developed around 1800 BC, when these caves were not flooded with water, and researchers have already discovered more than 100 archaeological elements, including remains of human bodies, graves, and fossils of wildlife. People involved with the project say these caves are the most important submerged archaeological site in the world.
It's been more than 25 years since the Bare Naked Ladies released hits like If I Had $1 Million and 1 Week. And this year at the 2018 Juno Awards, the band will be inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame. With 2 Billboard Music Awards, 8 Juno Awards, and 1 World Music Award, the induction is well-deserved. And if you think you haven't heard from the guys lately, think again. They sing the opening theme song for one of TV's most popular sitcoms ever, The Big Bang Theory.
Science history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a Big Bang.
Yeah, that one. The 2018 Juno Awards will be held in Vancouver on March 25th.
Coca Cola has announced an ambitious new plan to recycle. The soda maker says it will try to recycle a bottle or can for each new one it sells by the year 2030. It will also seek to make all of its packaging recyclable. Coca Cola's CEO said the world has a packaging problem, and like all companies, we have a responsibility to help solve it. Consumer groups and government agencies have been pressuring companies to use less plastic. Unlike other packaging materials, plastics don't break down in nature. Small pieces can end up in the food supply and get eaten by animals. Over 9 billion tons have been produced since 1950, and only about 10% of that is recycled. So for that reason, Coke's plan may not be ambitious enough for some. Greenpeace has already criticized the company for not trying to make less plastic. Politically charged speakers are repeatedly getting disinvited from college campuses. In the past 2 years, more than 30 have been cancelled due to public pressure and sometimes violent protests. Jason Bellini looks into why it's happening in this week's Wall Street Journal Moving Upstream report.
Thanks, Richard. Free speech has emerged as a hot issue on college campuses, with many students thinking there should be limits.
One of the conditions under which free speech is not acceptable is if it disrupts the environment that is supposed to be protected, which is educational.
And many of these students are coming under criticism from conservatives for blocking speeches from people they disagree with.
The American university was once the center of academic freedom, but it is transforming into an echo chamber of political correctness.
We spoke with a professor and administrator at NYU who sympathizes with the students' position.
When people protest, most often it concerns something else. They're saying something isn't quite working for us in this society.
For this week's episode of Moving Upstream, we try to get to the root of this issue, to try to understand what's fueling this controversy.
And you can watch full episodes of Moving Upstream at wsj.com/upstream. A new study says that for patients suffering from dementia, music therapy amplifies their ability to recall information. And not only that, it also reduces side effects such as anxiety, agitation, and aggression. The study, conducted in the UK by the International Longevity Centre think tank and the Utley Foundation, says at the heart of this debate is the right for people with dementia to have not just a life, but a good life, and to be comforted and enlivened by the power of music. Also notable, in the UK, only 5% of facilities that care for people with dementia appropriately employ this form of therapy. And when they do use it, it's in the form of personalized playlists, playing live music, using instruments, and community-based bands. The study also said implementing music therapy early on could save a considerable amount of money in terms of long-term patient care.
With drinks like the Zombie Frappuccino, Maple Pecan Latte, and a whole secret menu dedicated to Harry Potter-inspired beverages, you'd think Starbucks wouldn't have time to bring anything else back. But they're relaunching the smoked butterscotch latte they debuted in 2016, and we're going to tell you how to make it at home. Either melt butterscotch chips in the microwave or use store-bought butterscotch sauce and drizzle it down the sides of your mug. Add a double shot of espresso or a strong cup of coffee and then top that with frothed milk. Frothed milk can be made easily by putting cold milk in a jar with a lid and shaking it up for a minute, and then put that in the microwave without the lid for 30 seconds. Then top it with a sprinkle of smoked sea salt and turbinado sugar. Who doesn't like something easy and delicious?
A new study found potentially harmful chemicals in 93% of receipts given to customers at major stores, banks, and gas stations across the country. A group called the Ecology Centre worked with consumers and companies to promote greener practices. Their research found BPA and its substitute BPS in almost all the receipts it tested. BPA is a chemical found in plastic containers, but it is banned in sippy cups, baby bottles, and formula packaging. Some research shows it may impact the brain and behavior, but the FDA is continuing to study it. BPS is often used as a substitute, but the Ecology Centre says it can be just as harmful. The report found Best Buy is one of the national chains using receipts free of these chemicals. For a complete list of receipts tested, go to the Top 30 Facebook page. Florida Atlantic University just hired the youngest offensive coordinator in college football. 24-year-old Charlie Weiss Jr. will take over the position for the Owls this year. Weiss's father was the head coach at Notre Dame and Kansas, and also had several offensive coordinator jobs in the NFL. Before this job, Weiss Jr. worked as an assistant for the Atlanta Falcons and as an analyst at the University of Alabama. That's where he met current FAU coach Lane Kiffin, who was also on the coaching staff there. Kiffin told ESPN Weiss is way ahead of his time in how he sees the game. Kiffin knows what Weiss is going through. When Kiffin was hired by the Raiders in 2007, the 31-year-old became the youngest head coach in NFL history. Kristen, what's coming up on the next show?
Richard, we're talking about cheaper prescription drugs. Patients aren't the only ones fed up by the high cost of medication. Now, a new company could get into the drug business. Plus, we'll tell you why travelers are being warned about visiting Jamaica. And this isn't just any 57 Chevy. We'll have the story of why it brought this 81-year-old man to tears. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.